Does your church need a sensory room? Let's find out. Did you know that a person cannot learn well or at all if their sensory system is dysregulated? A person with sensory processing issues has real sensory needs, and these needs must be met for them to be able to listen and learn about Jesus. Many sensory needs can be met within the regular class by creating a sensory-friendly classroom and using accessible, inclusive teaching strategies. We have lots of great tips on how to make it happen in this series and even more resources at overcomerministries.com. I'd like to encourage you to check out our free video courses, Behavior, Sensory Issues, and the Church, as well as universal access to the gospel. People with significant sensory needs will benefit from a sensory room at church. For example, if a person is distressed or anxious, they probably need the specialized tools and space that a sensory room can provide. Let's explore how to use a sensory room at church. Some people may benefit from using the sensory room before they go to their regular class, so they are able to sit, listen, and learn about God. Other people may need a sensory break after a time of listening and learning. Regularly scheduled sensory breaks can help a person's sensory system stay regulated. This is often called a sensory diet. Sensory rooms can also be used for specialized teaching for a person or people needing more support, such as an individualized curriculum or someone needing very substantial support that cannot be met in another classroom. Everyone assisting in the sensory room needs to be trained on how to utilize the sensory tools and the sensory room safely. The great news is you can share this video and the free Simple Sensory Tools video on our website at overcomerministries.com. Systems will help all those who need the sensory room best utilize it to prepare them for learning about Jesus. Here's what I suggest. Use a predictable routine, visual timers, a choice board, a way to communicate sensory needs, such as picture cards or a flip book with their preferred sensory tools. It's a good idea to have a plan of how to transition from the sensory room into the class where they will learn best. Here are some tips. Use visual timers, visual schedules, a social story to prepare for what's next, and give them a job or errand in the next location. For example, have them take a book to the teacher. An excellent sensory room will be set up to meet these 6 sensory needs: movement seekers, heavy pressure seekers, tactile avoiders, auditory avoiders, and visual avoiders. Let's go over some basic sensory tools to cover each of these groups, and then you can choose several tools from each area to create a well-rounded sensory room. Number 1, movement seekers. They need lots of movement, especially head movement. One of my favorite sensory room tools is a mini trampoline with a handle. It also helps people that need heavy pressure, and the rhythmic bouncing is very regulating to most people. An exercise ball. This should be used with close supervision. I also recommend using it on a soft surface, like a gym mat. A person can sit on it or lay on their tummy and roll back and forth. Be careful of neck instability, which can be common in children with Down syndrome and people with other bone or joint issues. A glider provides very calming movement, and it is safer than a rocking chair. It can also be used without assistance. This can be helpful for those that don't want to be touched or closely supervised. Scooters are a lot of fun and a fantastic way to get vestibular or movement input. I suggest that you lay on your tummy or sit on your bottom. Bilbo or other seats that provide movement are lots of fun. It is a great way for kids to independently wobble and spin. I always recommend that children spin themselves. No one else should spin them. And be careful that they don't spin too much and get motion sickness. People with seizures should not spin at all. Provide space to run around, tumble, and play. Vestibular input comes from head movement, so allow them to run, roll, tumble, and twirl. Lay out a large gym mat and have fun. Swings can be a bit complicated and dangerous. I don't usually recommend a swing for most church sensory rooms. Most movement needs can be met in some of these other ways I have already mentioned. However, if you have people in your church with significant sensory needs, or if your church will be providing long periods of respite care, then a swing can be very helpful. Swinging can be calming or alerting. I recommend using slow and low swinging for calming. Fast, jerky movements are alerting. Here are some precautions for the swing. Swinging can give people motion sickness. A swing should always be used with close supervision and secured or put away when not in use. It is best to have a soft surface underneath it. I don't recommend spinning on a swing. Never use a swing with a person that has any type of seizure risk. I think it's important to remember that our goal at church is the gospel and not therapy. We are helping people's sensory systems be regulated to best hear the gospel. There are two basic types of sensory room swings. A platform swing has a large flat surface, and it is used for sitting, kneeling, or laying down. A fabric swing can be used by sitting, straddling it, or laying on their tummy. A fabric swing provides heavy pressure as well as movement. Speaking of heavy pressure, let's look at what types of tools heavy pressure seekers need. I really love a mini trampoline, and as I mentioned, the mini trampoline is one of my favorite sensory room tools because it provides movement as well as heavy pressure. A cocoon or squeeze tunnel is also a popular choice. You can crawl through the fabric tunnel and get lots of wonderful heavy pressure. This is also great to use in the regular classroom to transition from one activity to another. Body socks provide great heavy pressure. The person gets inside the body sock and has fun stretching and moving against the pressure of the fabric. Be careful because they can be slippery. A cuddle loop is just a band of stretchy fabric. I often cut the bottoms off of an old t-shirt for this purpose. They are great for floor time in the classroom too. A crash pad can be made inexpensively by filling duvet covers with leftover foam scraps from an upholstery shop. Make sure to use at least 2 duvet covers so the outer layer can be removed for washing. It is best to sew or zip the foam securely inside the first duvet cover because it can crumble and start to deteriorate with use. Provide a heavy beanbag chair or large pillow. This can be used independently for heavy pressure by crawling underneath it. You can make your own weighted beanbag chair by adding unscented clay cat litter to the beanbag. Depending on your needs, you can adjust the weight and either add the entire bag or dump the contents to distribute it. For safety, make sure the person can independently crawl underneath it and independently get out from underneath the weighted beanbag. Use an exercise ball. They can sit and bounce on the ball with supervision, or they can lay on their tummy and be gently squished by the ball with help. Be sure to use it on a gym mat or other soft surface. The next group is tactile seekers. Tactile seekers need a variety of textures to touch. One of my favorite fidgets for a sensory room or classroom is Play-Doh. It can also be used for multisensory learning as a part of a lesson. For example, can you sculpt what God used to let Noah realize it was safe to leave the ark? Play-Doh is a wonderful multi-sensory teaching tool. Sensory bins. Fill boxes or bins with sensory materials like dry rice, pebbles, Easter grass, dry beans, shaving cream, or water. Mix in learning materials that go along with the lesson to find and play with. For example, God made all the animals. Can you find the animals hiding in the grass? This is a great multi-sensory teaching tool for a classroom too. Sensory boards can be helpful to tactile seekers as well. These can be purchased or made with a variety of textures to explore. Textured fidgets. Make sure to have different textures to choose from, such as the slick, stretchy noodle, a spiky loop, a rough marble fidget, or a squishy gel fidget. These tactile tools can help a tactile seeker be able to focus and attend much better. We can also provide a safe place for the tactile avoider in a sensory room. Tactile avoiders will appreciate a tent, box, or cozy, calming corner. They need a place where they know they won't be touched. Also, a soft blanket to curl up in or an item of their preferred texture can bring comfort and help relieve anxiety. Auditory avoiders need a quiet space. It is important to have noise-reducing headphones available in the sensory room and throughout the church. Visual avoiders need a visually calm space with dim lights, soft lamps, filtered lights, or light covers. Fluorescent and LED lights can be very harsh and overstimulating. A sensory room should have minimal decorations, soothing colors, and avoid visual clutter. Remember, our goal is to teach people about Jesus, the Bible, and the good news of the gospel. Let's think about how we can best achieve this goal for each individual. Not everyone needs to use a sensory room. We want to provide an accessible, inclusive, sensory-friendly classroom to meet a wide range of needs and help people stay in the classroom as much as possible. However, a sensory room can be a necessary addition for a church to meet specific sensory needs that can't be met in the regular class. I'm Charla, your friendly OT, and I'm glad to help you with any questions you may have about creating your own sensory room.